This is Small Group Guided Math with Mrs. McElveen. Today is another I do. I have another word problem to think through. So you are going to see what I do, and then on your own page, use it as a model and example for the work that you do when you work with a partner and then when you do work on your own. With a word problem, the very first thing I do is read it at least 2 times to make sure I'm really paying attention to what it's saying. The total cost for Patsy to attend 9 days of arts and crafts camp was $306. The cost for each day of camp is the same. What was the cost for each day of the arts and crafts camp? I'm going to read it again. The total cost for Patsy to attend 9 days of arts and crafts camp was $306. The cost for each day of camp is the same. What was the cost for each day of arts and crafts camp? So right away I'm noticing a few different important words. I noticed that it says each day of camp is the same, and then my question says, what does the cost for each day for the arts and crafts camp? So I'm going to add each to my keywords for efficient solving list. And then I'm going to use that to help me determine the most efficient way to solve the problem. So I'm going to start showing my thinking through the problem. I know it says Patsy attended the camp for 9 days. And it cost $306. And actually it talks about the total cost. So I'm going to add that important words. Total cost was $306. I'm going to say that each day was the same price. And I want to know what was the cost for each day, which really means what was the cost for 1 day of camp. Take a moment and you can pause the video and catch up with your writing. Now I'm going to think through what's happening in the story with a visual representation. So Patsy went for 9 days of camp. So here are the days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then the total cost of camp, I'm going to say this is days. Every single day was altogether $306. But I don't know how much these days were on their own. I know that if I added each of these days together, I would get 306. Or perhaps more efficiently, perhaps more quickly, if I multiplied, if I knew what this number was, if I multiplied this number times 9 days, I would get $306. So if I think through that, I know I would have however much $1 was times 9, I know equals $306. But this is missing information. I know that the opposite of multiplication is division. So if I divide the $306 by 9, I should figure out how much 1 day is. And that's what each tells me. If I know that each day was the same cost, and I want to know how much that 1 day was, a really efficient way to solve it is to use division. Take a moment, pause the video to catch up. And before I actually solve this problem now, I'm going to estimate. 306, if I'm rounding to the greatest number, is really close to 300. It's between 300 and 400, but it's closest to 300. So if I estimate, I'd have 300 divided by, and 9 is really close to 10. 10's a much friendlier number than 9, so I'm going to use that. 300 divided by 9. I know that 1 times 3 is 3. I know that 10 times 10 is 100. So I'm pretty sure 10 times 30 is 300. But I can try it over here with the algorithm. I can see 10 goes into 30 3 times. 3 times 10 is 30. Bring down a 0. 10 does not go into 0 at all. 10 times 0 is 0. I don't have a remainder, so my answer should be it's about $30 per day. You can try this out in a different way to solve the division that works for you. Now I'm going to actually solve the problem. $306 divided by the 9 days will give me 1 day. The list of my multiples are 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81, 90. 9 cannot go into 3, so I'm going to look at 30. 9 can go into 30. The closest it can go is 3 times 1, 2, 3. 3 times 9 is 27. I'm going to subtract that. 10 minus 7 is 3. Bring down the 6. 2 minus 2 is 0. 9 goes into 36. 1, 2, 3, 4 times without going over. 9 times 4 is 36. 36 minus 36 is 0. So 1 day of camp was $34, which is pretty close to my $30 estimate, so I should feel pretty good about my answer.